Welcome everyone to Trick or Treat week of the NFL season. I have lots. I have a favorite and four underdog treats for you this week. But before we get to this week, let's recap what happened last week. I went 4-0 last week, which brings my overall record to 19, 15, and 1. So let's keep on fire into this week. For my first pick, I like the Panthers -6 over the Colts. I look for Cam Newton and the offense to keep up the pace on Monday night as they take on Andrew Luck and a Colts team coming apart at the seams. I think the Panthers' running game will steamroll right through the soft Colts defensive line and safeties. And this will open up things for Cam for play action passes down the field. And Andrew Luck won't have time to look downfield against a fierce pass rush of the Panthers, and the Colts won't be able to block them. And there's rumblings with the head coach and front office, and Chuck Pagano's days are numbered. For my next pick, I like the Bears +1 over the Vikings. Coming off the bye, I think you'll see a re-energized Bears offense as Jay Cutler finally gets all his toys back on offense since the first time since training camp. And I look for Cutler to use some short slant and passes to his tight ends and slot receivers to slow down Minnesota's pass rush. And they're getting their top safety Antrel Roll back on the field, which should help them as he is like a head coach on the field. And I don't like how Minnesota has been getting off to these 10 and 13 point holes. They've been able to dig out of them, but I don't think they'll be as lucky this week. And Adrian Peterson will get his yards, but he'll have to get 25 or 30 carries in order to get them. For my next pick, I like the Giants +3.5 over the Saints. This is the first time in over a month where Beckham and Randall have been able to practice 3 times in a week, which should serve Eli and the offense to break out of their passing funk. I think they'll be able to do some damage against the Saints secondary, and it will open up things for Jennings and the running backs. And the Saints had a 27-point lead against a Colts team coming apart, and with 3 minutes left, the Colts had a chance to win that game, and the Saints almost let it slip away, but they got lucky. And I don't think Drew Brees has the arm strength to stretch the field, but they'll use the running game, but I think Eli will be too powerful for him. And both defenses aren't the greatest, but the Giants are in the top 10 and taking away the ball. So I think that'll be a difference in this high-scoring game. Now, oh wait a second, I just reached deep into my treat bag and I found a couple sweet underdog treats for you. Starting with the Raiders plus 2.5 over the Jets. This Raiders team isn't like the ones from the last 10 years. And I see a big advantage for them this week in the black hole. The Kyle Mack, Eldon Smith, and his friends on the defensive line will be able to feast on the Jets' O-line, as they are highly unlikely to have Nick Mangold and their right guard on the line, which will be a nightmare for Fitzpatrick and their stable of running backs. So I look for Fitzpatrick to have a mistake or two and be running for his life. And without being able to run, things will be hard on the Jets receivers. And on the other side of the ball, I think the speed of Cooper and Crabtree will make things hard for Revis and Cromartie. And the Murray will be able to have some decent runs. For my next upset treat for you, I like the Broncos plus 3 over the Packers. I know what you might be thinking. Peyton has lost his arm strength, but he's had 2 weeks to shake off the rust, and this is the first time his whole offensive line will be in the fold since August. So I think that will open up things for Hillman in the running game to take on a weak Packers run D, and we'll give him an extra second for Manning to look downfield to complete those passes. And I think the Broncos secondary will be able to lock up the receivers of the Packers to cause some coverage sacks for Rodgers. And Emmanuel Sanders will have a field day against Clinton Dix, and that will be the difference. So I look for the Cheeseheads to make the flight back to the frozen tundra with their first loss of the season.
Wow.
Sorry, Packer fans. So for a quick recap, here are my trick-or-treat picks. I hope they're a treat and not scary.